you might be paying a little bit more, but it's going to last a lot longer than a regular hammer and a chisel. And then not to mention the potential savings of possible injuries as well. That can be kind of an unknown depending on the injury. But I imagine when it comes to having to pay for a medical bill and you multiply it by 2 or 3, per year or every other year or so, it adds up pretty quickly, and it will justify that. Do you happen to have any? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's like one story. Like, for instance, I was on a plane flying to a trade show and just happened to be sitting next to a guy, and we got talking, and he had just spent $250,000 on saving a guy's life he was a mine boss in Nevada. And I said, well, what happened to him? Like, I'm not prying or anything. And he said, well, we were swinging a traditional hammer at a punch, and a piece of metal flew out, hit the guy in the arm, and he almost bled out and died. And they had to life flight him into Vegas. And he said, it cost us $250,000. And I told him, I said, well, we sell a product that will eliminate that. And on the plane, I showed him it, and he bought 2 kits from us before we landed, because he's like, man, he's like, that is cheap compared to what I just did, to save this guy's life. And so they do work. It's just, you have to look at it. Yeah, the upfront cost is a touch more, but what we save you on the back end is, it's incredible. Where just $250,000 there to save one guy, then plus I'm sure their insurance probably went up. I mean, every time you have a claim, something goes up. So our cost savings is very high on the back end.
Wow, that's a great story. I was going to say, do you have any examples? And that's a perfect one right there. So,
and we get that all the time. Yeah, I mean, every large company in the U.S., we've probably helped them. I mean, we get calls. We had a guy out of North Carolina that same thing. Their mechanic would have bled out and died from a piece of shrapnel if the other mechanic working with him happened to be a retired Green Beret medic. And that's the only reason the guy lived. So then they called us 2 weeks later, like, hey, we saw you at a trade show. We didn't really think we needed him. We need him.
we changed our mind. Wow. That's amazing.
And that's part of the problem we fight too, selling them, is that they look so different, and people will see them and go, I don't really know if we need them or if they work. But then as soon as they have an injury or a recordable injury after they see us, then that's when they call us and start buying them. It's tough that it takes somebody getting hurt for our sales to increase, but that's just the human nature. You're not going to change until you have to.